Hello YouTube and fellow preppers, I am Geordie Prepper. I'm doing something a little different today. I'm going to be talking about keeping things secure in your bugging location, and I'm just going to present it on the screen here using a screen recorder. It's basically just to show you things which may help you in a bugging situation, and to keep items that you need to be kept safe if you do indeed need a bug out. Obviously, your personal items, it's your choice what you keep safe. I'm just going to take you through some things which I think could help, and I'm going to show you some things which won't help. Now, basically, you're entitled to keep property secure. Your basic and inalienable right to security in your person and property is something that you're born with, so don't be afraid to keep things locked up and secure. That's just an inherent right that you have. But these items should help, and obviously in a bugging situation you're going to want to keep some specific items secure. Indeed, you're going to want to keep them secure when it's not even a stuff hits the fan situation. You just have items in your property that you want to either make impossible to remove from the property, or you just want to make it so bothersome to do so that if anyone, say, is burglaring your home and they come across a safe or something, then obviously it's going to make a lot of noise, and they're not going to be too keen about trying to break into something which they're going to use like a massively loud piece of equipment or a long time to do so. I think the average burglary lasts about 4 or 5 minutes or something like that. They just want to grab what's in sight and expensive and get out. So keeping things in a safe is just a good idea anyways. But for stuff hits the fan and a WROL situation, it can keep items secure that you want to keep secure until such a situation arises. So the first thing I just want to talk about is keys. Now, we're going to assume a couple of things before I show you this stuff. It's that the power grid is down and that none of the items that I'm going to show you use electricity of any kind, and that includes batteries. And obviously you don't want anything that's reliant on batteries, just because it's something else that can fail. All of these are just mechanical items, so there's much less chance of anything going wrong with them. So obviously if you do buy a safe, which is like a wall mounted safe, then a mechanical safe, it'll obviously have keys to it, so obviously you want to keep the keys to it secure. One thing I would recommend is getting like a key safe such as this. I mean, you don't have to buy this particular brand. I'm not endorsing this particular brand. There are many different types available out there. You just have to type a search into Amazon here, and you get multiple options. So you could just put wall mounted key safe in. And you get many different options here. There's lots on the market. I mean, just go off what the customers say and recommend, and that should lead you to the one that you think is suitable for you. Many of them use like a combination code, such as this one. Obviously that's a combination that you need to remember. If you have trouble remembering something, then maybe a key operated one is going to be most suitable for you. The only thing with that is that you have a key which you again need to keep safe, so you can even buy things which pretend to be something which they're not. So here we have a clock which you can keep the key for your wall mounted key safe in. The only problem with this type of thing is obviously the base is a lot thicker than a normal clock, so that might give it away. But you have other things here like a can, which is a keep safe. There's lots of different options out there, so if you're not comfortable remembering any sort of combination which houses the keys to the main safe where you're going to store your items in, then there are options out there. So moving along to safes, obviously get a mechanical safe. Again, I'm not endorsing a particular product. There's many different types out there. But any sort of mechanical safe is going to be good. The only thing I would say is to not use the wall mounts that they come with. It's a good idea to, when you get your safe, just turn it over onto the front so that the door is at the bottom. Just basically draw 2 lines diagonally from corner to corner. In the center point where they meet, just mark that, and then either side of the safe mark halfway down, and then draw a line horizontally across the middle of the safe. And what I would do is you want to make 4 new holes in the safe. Basically you want them as close to the edge as possible, but without going too far into the corners, so that when you put a screwdriver into the safe, the new holes that you make aren't going to be too close to the edge so that you can't actually tie in the screws. But what I would recommend is not using the original wall mounts that come with them, because very often they're not very good. Just get some some reinforced steel screws, quite large, but they don't have to be too big. Get some raw plugs which fit them, and get a drill and drill 4 new holes into the safe, because many times they just come with 2 holes. They'll come with 2 for the wall and 2 for the floor. That isn't actually very secure. I mean, you can put 2 new holes in, and that would be perfectly fine. In the middle, one towards the top and then one towards the bottom, assuming the original ones aren't in that location to begin with. But basically, this gives you 4 anchor points instead of 2, which is going to increase it's going to increase the probability that someone isn't going to be able to wrench it off the wall, and just keeps it more secure. So assume that you can't get replacement batteries for a safe, and just get a mechanical safe. Obviously, the main keys that you get for the safe, you need to keep them safe, and I would recommend that you don't keep them on you at any time. Just keep them in a wall mounted key safe at all times, and then that keeps them more secure. Types of safes to avoid, and I'm not dissing this particular brand, but this sort of thing here. Avoid these if you can. There's many videos on YouTube, and you'll notice in the customer review sections that the method to unlock these safes does work. All it involves doing is hitting the top of the safe and just jiggling the lock there, and they'll come open. It's well documented on YouTube that these sorts of safes are vulnerable to that sort of thing, which is again why I recommend just a normal mechanical safe. So that's it really, guys. Just some recommendations that I would I just wanted to share with you. A couple of other things. One of the reasons to get a safe is obviously I'm recommending that people remove their cash from their bank accounts right now. This is just a safety precaution. If your cash is in a bank, especially a central bank, which we're all using, it's not safe. You get very little return, and in fact in some countries in Europe they're actually getting the customers to pay for the privilege of having a bank account. So negative interest rates, which is just terrible in my view. It seems that England is heading towards that way as well. Recently in the news they were talking about negative interest rates, banning cash, just ridiculous things. So I'm recommending that people remove their cash from the banks right now. You don't have to do it in huge amounts, just £100 or £200 per day. Just get the main bulk of the cash that you have in the bank out and remove it. Obviously, there are other things that you want to keep in the safe. If you want to keep personal identification papers in there, then yeah, do so. But this isn't Nazi Germany. You don't have to prove who you are to anyone. You may want to keep some rations in there, such as seven oceans or 7 seas, I think it's called. 7 seas rations. You could put a couple of boxes of them in the safe. One tip for the safe. If it comes with wall mounts and floor mounts and you're just attaching it to the wall, then get a screw or some sort of bolt and get a washer which fits the bolt. If you wall mount it, then there may be a gap between the floor and the safe. So one tip that I've got for you guys, in case of a fire, now over 80% of the time when there's a fire, it's in a location where fire happens. So this could be a kitchen, or where fire could ignite easily, so that would be in a kitchen. And if people have safes, even if they're not a fireproof safe, over 80% of the time, or I think even 90% of the time, items that are in a safe are going to survive. Now obviously you want to get a steel safe because steel distributes heat very well. Now obviously if you've got a wall safe that's attached to a wall, then along the bottom there's going to be 2 holes. And what I'd recommend you do is just get a couple of bolts, get a washer, and just feed the bolt through the bottom floor holes, and just secure the bolt inside. And that way it closes the 2 bottom holes up, so you don't get any heat going through into the safe, or in fact any flames which could ignite any materials in there, because obviously if you have papers in there, then they're made of paper and they're combustible, so you don't want items inside igniting through a hole in the safe. So that's just one tip I've got for that, is just to plug those holes in the bottom if you indeed attach it to the wall. Yeah, so again, avoid safes like this. I'm not dissing this particular brand. There's many different types of brands out there that do this sort of safe, and they all suffer from the same flaw, unfortunately. Get a mechanical safe and get some sort of storage thing for keeping the keys to that safe secure. A lot of the times you'll see in these pictures that they're attached to like an external wall. I wouldn't really recommend that. For one thing, those walls are uneven, and plus if you put a wall mounted safe on the outside and someone sees it, it's basically an invitation for them to try and get whatever's in there. So I mean, if you're in a very rural location, yeah, it might be a bit beneficial for you to keep a spare set of house keys in these. But again, don't go with the cheap version. Go with a very robust, high quality one that's recommended for that sort of thing. That's it, guys. That's all I just wanted to say. Just keep items that you need to be secure, safe, and safes are one way to do so. So this is Geordie Prepper signing off. I hope you've liked this sort of format. I may do others like this in the future, so if you like it, then just please give it a thumbs up. Thank you for subscribing, thank you for your time, and be safe and be prepared.